Okay, take two. So today, what I want to share with you is a book that I recently read, Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer. And you might be wondering how this applies to real estate and commercial real estate. And I'm going to take a bit of a different angle on this. And it was actually from a coaching session that I was just part of. And when the gentleman was walking through, I kind of had a few epiphanies, if you will. And so hopefully you find value in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and just kind of show you what I was thinking. Okay. So you can see here, hopefully you can see my screen. Okay. This is, there's kind of four boxes that go into Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer. And here they are. Okay. The first is dream outcome. The second is high perceived, don't worry about my spelling, hopefully, high perceived likelihood of achievement. And you've got time delay, meaning how long is it going to take. And then you have effort and sacrifice. Okay. Now, it's been a little while since I read the book, but what I want to share with you is a few things. First is this dream outcome, right? So how big is that dream outcome? I would say for most people considering investing in commercial real estate, this is pretty high, right? So I'm just going to do, okay. The perceived likelihood of achieving it. This is more difficult to evaluate. Okay. If you are already investing in commercial real estate, I would say this is very high. If you've never invested in commercial real estate, then that could be flat or negative. All right. And then the time delay. Once again, if you've never invested, it's going to be hard for you to evaluate how long is it going to take for you to actually see success investing. All right. So I would say here, I'm going to give it a neutral. And then the effort and sacrifice, once again, this is going to vary, and this kind of now ties into the offers. Okay. So what are the different options that you have? There's more options, but let's just kind of go over some of the high level ones. Okay. The first is coaching. The second is brokerage. By brokerage, what I mean is you go out and you find an agent, and that agent has a property, they found it, they bring it to you, and then you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to invest. Okay, so that's a very clear. I'm going to show you how each one of these ties into the $100 million offer. Okay, and frankly, because I have experience in all three of these, I'm just going to share some insights because I thought it was interesting. We'll see. And then the last one is the GPLP. This could be joint venture, something along those lines where essentially you are not having to do this on your own. Okay, so let's take coaching, and this is something that this was the epiphany that came out of my coaching call today with Dane, right, the gentleman that's helping me. The dream outcome in coaching is essentially that they are going to get a cash flowing property that will or could, that has the potential to replace a six-figure income. Okay, so I would say that this is. I'm just going to give it ones and zeros so you can kind of see. I would say that this is a one. The perceived likelihood of achievement, for most people that I speak to, what I've realized is this is likely a zero. And I don't know if it's because of I don't think it's necessarily anything with me, because I've talked to a lot of other people that have coaching programs that sincerely do help people. I just think it's the same thing as the analogy that was used in the class today was hiring a personal trainer or getting liposuction, right? Hiring a personal trainer, you know that you're still going to have to eat healthy. You're still going to have to go to the gym. You're still going to have to follow a program. You get liposuction, you go in and they basically, an hour later, suck the fat out and you've achieved that goal without any of the effort, right? Now, personal trainer, $100, $200 an hour. Liposuction, we looked online, it was like $4,000 to $8,000, right? So very big price differences, if you will. But time delay, liposuction, pretty quick. taking the long hard way of getting in shape much longer, right? So even just using this same analogy here, you can't see my hand as it goes across here, but if you look at dream outcome, liposuction pretty high, high perceived likelihood of achievement very high, time delay very low, effort and sacrifice very low, right? That's why cosmetic surgeons and whatnot can charge so much, and personal trainers unfortunately charge much less. Not in every case, but I think that you can kind of see the. Hopefully, you guys can hear this. It's saying my microphone is working. Let's just see what this. Okay. Anyways, we're going to continue. So, in terms of coaching, I think that this is one of the biggest challenges, right? Because the time delay is actually, it does take longer, right? Especially if you're learning it for the first time, you've never invested in commercial real estate, or maybe you have one property. The time delay, you appreciate that it's going to take more time and effort. And effort and sacrifice, once again, it's very high. So you can see why coaching, for the most part, is not a great offering for many people, right? Brokerage, on the other hand, dream outcome, very high. Perceived likelihood of achievement, I would say, is very high. Time delay, generally speaking, you're talking to brokers when they have a property, and the effort and sacrifice, 0.5 to 1. And I say that because that there's still going to be some effort. However, the effort and sacrifice is much less, because if someone's bringing you a deal, that it is, it's in place, if you will. Okay. Now, the last one here, GPLP, this is kind of what's called investing passively. I'm going to give these all ones across the board as well, because frankly, it ticks most of the boxes. Maybe in terms of the dream outcome, it's going to be a little bit slower because you're investing in someone else's opportunity. However, I would say that for the most part, these, if you're just looking at Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer, there's a reason why the top brokers, make 7 to 8 figures a year. Not many making 8 figures, but certainly some. Coaching, on the other hand, you can really put a lot of effort and energy out there. However, the results that you get from the specific coaching are not as high, and that is, it is what it is. Now, the options that you have, I think, just based on the fact that no one is tuned in, that my audio is buggered. I'm going to end this. Okay, so we are back, and it was actually working. So that's, I just wanted to make sure the sound was on. All right, so let's just continue down with this train of thought in terms of some of the options that I think you would have as an investor if you are considering, getting into commercial real estate, right? So there's a couple of different options that a person has. First, there is partnering. The next is figuring it out on your own. And the last would be a mentor. Okay. These would be some of the options, not all the options. You could probably think of other ones, but I think for many people, partnering, this could be, a GPLP or a joint venture. In some capacity, you are giving up ownership to have someone else come into your deal. Okay. And sometimes you do that for money. Sometimes you're going to do that for experience. Sometimes you're doing that because you don't have the time. And sometimes it's knowledge. And sometimes it could even be for credibility. Okay. So I would say that these are some of the variables that you would be looking at as it relates to why you would consider partnering with someone. Okay. Next is figuring out on your own. You can certainly do this. I would say that it's going to take a little bit longer, right? So you're going to have more time. I don't want to deny the fact that you can figure this out on your own, but I would say that unfortunately, a lot of the information that I see out there is not really how the game is played. Okay. Frequently the information is skewed, and I may even do this inadvertently, right? I try to give you what I think is, the truth, but certainly it's going to be filtered through my lens, right? And so everybody has their own lens that they are filtering information through. And so unless you have been on the other side, right? Unless you've been where in the chair of an investor, a broker, a developer, then it's going to be more difficult, right? Like every time I learn, for example, like chess. When I started playing chess, I realized very quickly that the first four moves would basically set up the rest of the game. And if I didn't know those first four moves, I was losing in 5 minutes. And I would say it's similar in commercial real estate. If you don't know the four or five kind of key moves at the very beginning of a deal, then it's very easy to fall behind. And, because it's such high stakes, it's easy to make mistakes and it can cost you. All right. And so I would just say that figuring it out on your own, it is possible. I would say probably the best way to figure this out on your own, and this would kind of tie into mentoring, is, if you could work for someone, right? There's people that contact me every so often, and I tell them straight up, I'm like, look, if you really want to learn this business and you don't want to either partner or pay for a mentor or coach, then I would say, go and work at a commercial real estate shop, a lender. Get into the business to see it from the inside, and you will learn it. It does take longer. Certainly there's an opportunity cost, especially if you're, there's going to be some people that just say, you know what, Shane, I'm not going to give up a 6 or 7 figure income or business that I have to go learn this, right? And if that's the case, then I would say consider partnering or consider a mentor as an example, all right? Now, why am I guess, sharing this with you? There's a couple of reasons. First, if you don't know my story, I'm not going to go into the big, long gist of it, but one of the reasons that I do coach and mentor and put out these podcasts and free information and whatnot is because, my parents invested in the wrong opportunity when I was in my first year of university. So I was about 18 or 19, and they lost $100,000. Okay. And so that event definitely shaped how I look at investments and how I trust or distrust people, right? I'm still, I would say, for the most part, a fairly trusting individual. However, I'm highly skeptical, especially as it relates to investing and putting money into other people's opportunities, right? That's really why I wanted to learn it myself. And my journey is probably a lot longer than most people, right? I think I really started investing in real estate in 2003, 2004. So now we're in 2022. So whatever that is, close to 18 years. And a few of the things, like number one, it was the people around me that really helped me, right? It was my mentors, my father-in-law, Jim, one of my first mentors when I was at Sun Life Financial. He, really took a liking to me and kind of explained the game, right? I'd been in commercial finance for 2 years. In one lunch, he explained the business, how I fit in, and the entire ecosystem of commercial real estate literally in about 90 minutes. And that was really what kind of opened my eyes to, okay, I thought I knew what was going on, but I really didn't until Jim took the time to kind of explain it. So that is maybe a little bit of a divergence from what we normally talk about, but I thought it was important because I think when you understand where coaching or mentoring fits in and whether or not it's even for you, I think is very important, because regardless of the decision that you make in terms of going into commercial real estate, let's just make the assumption that that is a direction you want to head, then I would say as long as you can find people that you trust and are going to give you good guidance and help, then maybe you don't need the coaching, right? But I would say certainly having people in your world that can help you make those decisions, I think is very important. None of this is meant to be investing advice, okay? I got to make that kind of a disclaimer because I have no idea what your situation is and what your goals are. So I'm just giving you kind of what I have observed and where I think I can kind of offer and contribute, right? In terms of just different ideas and opportunities. I've got some people that really have no desire whatsoever to invest actively, but they wanted to understand enough so that they could make decisions in terms of who to potentially partner with, who to put money into their deals, and they didn't want to be dumb money. They wanted to be sophisticated, smart money, and kind of a hidden benefit of that is you actually then attract some of the best GPs, knowing what questions to ask, what questions not to ask, and then how to evaluate the people that you want to potentially put your money in with. I would say that there's a couple of my limited partners, passive investors, and they continually get invited into my deals because of the way they conduct themselves, and it's because they add value, they contribute. So if you can kind of think about how you could actually add value to the GP instead of just the money, because frankly, money is a bit of a commodity. But if there's other attributes that you can contribute, something to potentially see better deals. So that's all I got. Got to take the puppy for a walk, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.